They say money talks, but the truth? Real wealth whispers. Think about it. You don't hear it rumbling down the street in a brand new Lamborghini. You don't see it flashing with Rolex diamonds or loud designer labels. Real wealth moves quietly, almost invisibly, so quietly that sometimes even the person who has it doesn't realize it. That's the crazy part. You might already be getting rich without even knowing it. No confetti, no sudden "I made it" moment. Just quiet, steady shifts in your habits, your decisions, your mindset. And those shifts, when compounded, are louder than any flashy display of success. But let me ask you this, what if the very things you've been brushing off as normal, the little choices you make every day, are actually the signs that you're building wealth? Because the truth is, wealth isn't an event, it's a direction. Here's the image I want you to picture. It's Friday night, you get your paycheck. For a split second there's relief, like a deep exhale you didn't know you were holding. But then, that thought creeps in. Should I upgrade? Should I spend? Should I treat myself? Most people follow that impulse, they chase the upgrade. They let lifestyle creep nibble away at their future. But maybe, you don't. And that tiny moment, invisible to everyone else, is one of the first quiet signs that you're secretly getting rich, because wealth doesn't show up in how you spend, it shows up in how you resist. Let me tell you a story. Back when Warren Buffett was already a billionaire, he was still living in the same modest Omaha home he bought in 1958 for just $31,500. He could have had 10 mansions across the globe, jets, yachts, a castle if he wanted, but he didn't. When asked why, he just said, "It would drive me crazy to have 10 homes." That's the contrast. Most people chase more. Buffett chased less, and less gave him freedom. Now, here's why this matters to you. If you're starting to notice that you value freedom over flexing, that you're okay saying no to things that once tempted you, that's not boring. That's not missing out. That's wealth in its earliest form. But let's zoom in even more. Because wealth rarely announces itself with fireworks. It's more like growing taller as a kid. You don't see it happening in the mirror every day. Then one morning your jeans don't fit and boom, you realize you've changed. Money habits are the same way. You don't notice the small savings, the careful decisions, the restraint in moments of temptation. But one day, those choices have stacked so high, they've quietly built you a fortress. And here's the twist. While most people think they'll feel rich when it happens, the truth is, you feel exactly the same. Normal. That's the paradox of wealth. Imagine two people standing in line at McDonald's. One is counting coins from the cup holder of a 15-year-old car. The other is doing the exact same thing, but happens to be worth a $109 billion. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's Buffett again. He buys breakfast based on how the stock market is doing that day. 261 if it's down, 317 if it's up. Billionaire or not, he acts the same. See, wealth doesn't necessarily feel like fireworks, it feels like calm, like the ability to choose without stress. So here's where you might be missing the signs. You're waiting for some grand aha moment, some checkmark that says, "Now I'm rich." But in reality, the signs look like small, unremarkable choices that add up over time. Let me show you what I mean. Think about how you handle money today versus 5 years ago. Do you still splurge the moment you get paid, or do you pause, calculate, maybe push that purchase to later, or skip it entirely? That pause? That's not hesitation, that's progress. That's wealth training your brain, because money doesn't just grow in your account, it grows in your habits, long before it shows up in your net worth. And if you've started to notice those shifts, even just once in a while, you might already be getting rich in a way you can't feel yet. Now let's make this personal. Picture yourself walking past a shiny new phone release. Everyone's lining up. Ads are screaming. Your old phone still works though. It's not flashy, but it works. And instead of caving, you walk past. Feels boring, right? But here's the hidden truth. That moment is worth way more than the phone itself. Because you didn't just save $1,000, you saved yourself from a cycle. A cycle that traps millions of people in the hamster wheel of earn, spend, repeat. That quiet walk past the store, that's wealth, invisible but powerful. And here's the thing about these signs. They don't make you feel rich. They make you feel calm, maybe even ordinary. But underneath, they're building something extraordinary. Because here's the paradox. The people who look the richest often aren't. And the people who look ordinary, the ones who don't flex, who don't splurge, who don't chase every shiny thing, are often the ones quietly building empires. Let me share another picture. It's Saturday night. Your friends are going out, new club, new drinks, new bill that's going to sting tomorrow morning, and you're tempted. Of course you are. But then you think, do I even want this, or do I just want to say yes so I don't feel left out? So you stay in, you cook, you watch a movie, you wake up tomorrow with your wallet and your peace intact. That might feel like nothing, like a missed night out. But really, it's a win stacked on top of every other quiet win you've been collecting. That's how wealth feels. Not like a lottery ticket, like a collection of boring wins that compound into freedom. And freedom is the word we need to land on here. Because money, at its core, isn't about mansions or sports cars. It's about the ability to say no. No to the job you hate. No to the boss who drains you. No to the bills that used to crush you. The real signs that you're secretly getting rich aren't about what you've bought. They're about what you've walked away from. And here's the real kicker. Wealth builds silently in the background while you're living your life. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with a parade. It grows in those invisible choices, delaying gratification, resisting temptation, stacking small habits. So if you don't feel rich yet, good. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to wake up one day, look around and realize that while everyone else was chasing the illusion of wealth, you were quietly building the real thing. So let's pull back the curtain, because wealth isn't loud, it's hidden. And it hides in places you'd never expect. If you've been missing the signs, that's normal. They're subtle. They don't come with applause. But once you spot them, you can't unsee them. Sign number 1. You're choosing value over image. It happens quietly. One day, you stop caring about logos. The thrill of flexing fades. You don't buy shoes because they're trending. You buy them because they'll last. It's the moment you realize, this car still runs. Why replace it just because someone else upgraded? That's not cheap, that's clarity. Because here's the contrast. While most people trade dollars for image, you're trading dollars for time, peace, and freedom. It doesn't feel rich, in fact it feels boring, but that boredom, that's wealth planting roots. Sign number 2, you save before you spend. This one is sneaky. Most people flip it, they spend first, save later, and then wonder why nothing's left. But you're doing it in reverse. Even if it's just 10%, 5%, or a handful of coins in a jar, you pay yourself first. And here's where the contrast kicks in. It doesn't matter if the amount feels small, because saving isn't about size, it's about sequence. You're training your brain to prioritize future you over present impulse. And that's a turning point most people never reach, but you did quietly without fanfare. Sign number 3. You feel calm when your paycheck hits. Remember when payday used to feel like oxygen, like you could finally breathe again? Now, it doesn't feel as urgent. The check comes in, and instead of racing to cover every hole, you breathe steady. That calm is a sign, because money has shifted from survival to strategy. Contrast that with most people. The second money lands, it flies right back out. Bills, subscriptions, nights out, impulse buys. But if you're feeling calm on payday, it means you've built enough margin to stop living check to check. It might not feel like wealth, but to anyone still drowning, it looks like oxygen. Sign number 4. You track what others ignore. This is where it gets subtle. You notice the $10 subscriptions, the interest rates, the fees tucked away in the fine print. And while most people shrug it off, it's just $10, you don't. You know that money leaks are like termites. Tiny, invisible, devastating over time, so you patch the leaks, you watch the flow. And here's the kicker. Wealth is not just about earning more. It's about protecting what you already have. If you're paying attention to the small things, you're already wealthier than the person making twice your income but ignoring their leaks. Sign number 5. You resist lifestyle creep. This is the silent killer of wealth. Every time income rises, spending rises with it. Bigger house, fancier car, shinier toys. But maybe you didn't play that game. Maybe you kept your old apartment for another year. Maybe you didn't rush to swap cars the moment your paycheck grew. And while everyone else inflated their expenses, you widened your gap between what you make and what you spend. That gap, that's wealth's engine. It's not glamorous. It feels like standing still while everyone else is upgrading. But give it a few years, and you'll be miles ahead while they're stuck in debt. Sign number 6. You see money as a tool, not a trophy. This is a mindset shift most people never reach. Money stops being about showing off. It stops being about proving something. It becomes utility, a hammer, a key, a lever. And here's the contrast. Tools don't control you. You control them. That's why Buffett could live in the same house for decades, why he bought his first jet at 76, why he mocks extravagance. He wasn't denying himself. He was free from needing the trophy. If you've started seeing money this way, less as decoration, more as design, you're not just saving cash, you're buying independence. Sign number 7. You're patient. This might be the biggest one of all, because patience with money is the ultimate superpower. Think of it like planting an orchard. Most people scatter seeds and walk away, frustrated when fruit doesn't grow overnight. You keep watering, you keep waiting. You understand compounding isn't instant, it's invisible at first. And here's the twist. Patience doesn't feel like wealth. It feels like nothing's happening, but that's the moment most people quit. And the few who don't, they wake up one day surrounded by trees. Now let's pause here. Do you see the pattern? None of these signs come with fireworks. They're almost disappointing in how ordinary they feel. Choosing value over image, saving first, feeling calm on payday, tracking the small stuff, resisting lifestyle creep, seeing money as a tool, practicing patience. None of it looks rich on the surface. But beneath the surface, that's exactly how wealth grows. Think about it like this. When you first start working out, you don't see muscle after one session. You barely notice after a week. But then, after months of quiet reps, you wake up stronger, leaner, unrecognizable. Wealth works the same way. And if these signs are showing up in your life even faintly, it means your money muscles are growing quietly, even if you can't see them yet. But here's the part most people miss. Wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about freedom. The freedom to say no, the freedom to wait, the freedom to live on your terms. And if you've spotted even one of these signs in your life, you're further ahead than you think. You're on the quiet path, the path where money whispers, compounding in the background, building you a life that loud spenders will never touch. Think back to where we started, that quiet moment on payday, the silence before the noise, that space where relief sits in your chest, right before temptation knocks at the door. That moment is everything, because wealth doesn't shout, it doesn't flash, it whispers in choices, in patience, in the tiny, almost forgettable moves you repeat day after day. And here's the truth most people miss. Getting rich rarely feels like getting rich. It feels ordinary, unremarkable. It's you saying no to an upgrade nobody would notice. It's you investing in the background while everyone else is chasing the spotlight. It's you building freedom so quietly that even you forget it's happening. But one day, without fanfare, you'll wake up and realize the freedom you dreamed about isn't a dream anymore. It's there, sitting across the table from you like an old friend. So if you don't feel rich yet, don't panic. Don't chase the drama. Trust the stillness. Because that's where real wealth grows. Remember, money isn't built in leaps. It's built in layers, in tiny steps that no one applauds. The boring habits are the ones that quietly change everything. So maybe, just maybe, you're already further along than you think. Maybe you're secretly getting rich right now. And if that thought brings you even the smallest bit of calm, hold on to it. Because this isn't just about money. It's about building a life that doesn't need permission to be free. If this journey spoke to you, stay close. We explore these hidden patterns every week. So subscribe, share this with someone who needs a little reminder today. And let's keep walking this path together. Because wealth is quiet, but when you learn to listen, it speaks volumes. Hey, real quick question. Have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and thought, where did it all go? Like seriously, you swear you didn't buy anything crazy, and yet somehow, your money just vanished. Yeah, same. But here's the thing. While most of us are out here trying to budget with the same discipline as a toddler in a candy store, there's this one place that consistently nails it when it comes to smart, intentional money habits. Japan. Now I'm not saying they've got it all figured out, but there's definitely something about how many Japanese people approach saving money that just hits different. It's not just about cutting costs or chasing deals, it's about a mindset. A whole way of living that makes money feel less like a stressful survival tool and more like a quiet, steady ally. So today I want to share with you what I've been learning, some beautiful, even unexpected ways the Japanese save money and manage it like total pros. And no, this isn't going to be some dry finance lecture. Think of this like grabbing coffee with a friend who's been on a quiet mission to understand how people in Japan seem to balance simplicity, spending, and peace of mind. And now they're passing it all on to you. All right, let's get into it. So one of the first things I noticed is that in Japan, the concept of less is more isn't just an aesthetic. It's a financial philosophy. They're not big on excess. You walk into a Japanese home and it's not overflowing with stuff. That minimalist vibe, it's not just for Instagram, it's real life. And it actually saves a ton of money. Because when you're not constantly chasing the next thing to buy, the next upgrade, the next little dopamine hit, guess what? You start keeping more of your money without even trying. And it's not about being cheap. It's about being content, grateful, thoughtful, like, do I need this or am I just bored? That kind of thinking changes the whole game. Another thing, Japan is huge on cash. I know, in the age of tapping phones and one-click orders, that sounds prehistoric. But seriously, this habit forces mindfulness. When you physically hand over yen instead of swiping or tapping away with a card, you feel it. It's kind of like dieting. When you have to write down every single snack you eat, suddenly that third cookie isn't so invisible anymore, right? And speaking of writing things down, this one absolutely blew my mind. Many Japanese people use something called a Kakeibo. It's basically a money journal, not a budgeting app, not a spreadsheet. An actual notebook where you manually track what you earn, what you spend, and most importantly, why. That why part is everything. See, it's not just numbers, it's reflection. The Kakeibo actually asks you, was this purchase necessary? How did you feel when you spent this? Like imagine building a relationship with your money instead of just reacting to it. That's what they're doing. That's the level. And over time, this builds a kind of calm, intentional rhythm with spending. You start to know yourself financially. You're not guessing, you're not shocked when the credit card bill hits. You're in sync. You're steering the ship. And here's the thing I really love. In Japan, saving isn't about sacrifice. It's not give up your lattes and live sad forever. It's more like make small, quiet choices today that future you will whisper, thank you for. Alright, so I want to dive deeper into some of those daily habits, like how they shop, eat out, or even plan for big life events without going broke. But before we get there, let me just say this. If saving money has ever felt like punishment, like some annoying chore you're always failing at, you are not alone. But maybe you just need a new approach, a gentler one, a smarter one. So, let's talk about food for a second, because wow, if there's one place where a lot of our money disappears without us realizing, it's eating out, right? Those $8 lunches here, $12 there, the occasional delivery splurge that somehow ends up costing as much as groceries for a week. Yeah, been there way too many times. But in Japan, eating out is actually more intentional. Not only is it less frequent, but when people do go out, it's often a planned thing. Like a little treat, not a default setting. And what's really interesting is how home cooking is woven into the culture. Not in a strict, you must cook every night kind of way, but in this practical, almost peaceful rhythm. You'll find that a lot of Japanese homes prep simple meals, rice, veggies, some protein, nothing fancy, but super satisfying. They're big on using what they have, reducing food waste, and just not overcomplicating it. I remember watching this older Japanese woman on YouTube, just calmly preparing bento lunches with leftovers, cutting tiny portions, fitting everything perfectly into a box. And she said something like, if it's made with care, it tastes better. I felt that. And think about that. How often do we throw food away just because we forgot about it in the fridge? Or go grocery shopping without a plan and end up buying stuff we don't even cook? Japanese money habits go hand in hand with lifestyle habits. It's not just about spending less, it's about wasting less, whether it's time, food, or energy, and that extends to how they shop too. Like one thing that really stuck with me is how the Japanese approach buying new things, not with impulse but with pause. You don't usually see people walking around with 5 shopping bags of fast fashion. There's a slowness to their buying process, a pause, sometimes even a list. Or they'll wait until something wears out completely before replacing it. It's this kind of patience that's almost rare these days, right? We live in a see it, want it, click it world. But in Japan, there's a lot of pride in taking care of what you already have. Shoes get cleaned and repaired, clothes are mended. Electronics aren't replaced every year just because a new model came out. It's like a quiet rebellion against consumerism, and that mindset saves so much money over time. And here's another cool thing I learned. Many Japanese families have this low-key genius practice where they set specific envelopes aside for different expenses. It's not high-tech, it's literally just envelope budgeting. Like, this is for groceries. This is for transportation. This is for fun. Once the cash in the envelope is gone, that's it. They stop. It creates a natural boundary, and honestly, it makes spending kind of like a game. You start thinking, can I make this stretch? Can I be creative with what I have? And weirdly enough, those little limitations start feeling like freedom. You don't have to stress about overspending because you already gave yourself the limits. That's smart money management. It's not about restriction, it's about clarity. About being in control without being controlling. Oh, and you know what else they're really good at? Community. Like money isn't just a me thing, it's a we thing. Families often share resources, friends swap things instead of buying new. Local communities have second-hand markets or neighborhood exchanges, and it's not seen as cheap, it's normal. It's even kind of fun. I remember reading about this mom who said she hadn't bought her daughter's clothes new in years. Not because she couldn't afford to, but because other moms in her area had created this little circle where they passed clothes down as their kids outgrew them. No shame, no fuss. Just people helping each other out and saving money while doing it. Can you imagine how much less pressure that would take off? Honestly, the more I've learned, the more I've realized this isn't about mimicking everything Japan does. It's about adopting the spirit of it. Slowing down, thinking things through, asking if you're buying out of habit or need, finding joy in the simple stuff. That's the heart of it. And when you start to live like that, when you spend mindfully, when you cook with intention, when you track your money with care, you stop feeling like you're constantly behind. Instead, you start to feel grounded, like you've got a plan, but also, like you're not ruled by your bank balance anymore. Alright, I've still got a few more gems to share, like how Japanese people plan for big expenses without stress, and the mindset they use to stay consistent year after year. But let's take a breath here. If this is already making your brain go, why didn't I learn this sooner? Same. But the good news is, it's never too late to start shifting how you think about money. Alright, so let's wrap this up with a few more things I want you to take away. Because honestly, all of this is super doable. Like, you don't need to pack up and move to Japan to start incorporating some of these habits into your own life. It's more about the mindset, and I'm telling you, once you adopt even just a few of these ideas, your relationship with money can totally change. One thing I love about the Japanese approach to money management is their long-term thinking. It's not about instant gratification, it's about building something sustainable, something you can count on over time. They're always thinking about the future, but in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. They set small, realistic goals, then just keep moving forward little by little. Take saving, for example. You don't need to aim for some massive sum in a month. It's like they say in Japan, small drops make a river. That's exactly it. Start by setting aside just a little bit more than you usually do, even if it's only $5 or $10 a week. Eventually those small contributions add up. You won't even notice it happening at first, but before you know it, you've got a nice little cushion saved up, without the stress of trying to do too much too fast. And here's the kicker. It's not just about being good with money. It's about feeling good too. When you feel in control, when you feel like you've got your finances in a place that aligns with your life goals, it's honestly one of the best feelings ever. The Japanese don't just save money for the sake of it, they save it so they can live a more peaceful, less stressful life. And isn't that what we're all after, at the end of the day? More peace, more balance, more freedom? So, here's your challenge. This week, try just one of the things we talked about today. Maybe it's keeping a little spending journal, like the Kakeibo, or maybe it's setting up your own envelope system to make sure you're sticking to your budget. Or heck, maybe it's just taking a pause before every purchase and asking yourself, do I really need this? No pressure to change everything at once, just pick one thing and see how it feels. You might be surprised by how much impact just a small shift can have. I'm seriously rooting for you. You've got this. And you don't have to do it alone. If you're inspired by this, share your journey with me. I'd love to hear how you're using these ideas in your own life, how you're making your money work for you, not the other way around. And hey, if this video helped you out today, make sure to hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more content that's all about finding smarter, more peaceful ways to live our lives. Let's keep learning together, growing together, and making sure our money serves us instead of the other way around. Alright, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep it simple, keep it mindful, and keep moving forward. You got this.